writing a book about our marriage.
You leave me alone.
Are you writing something about our breakup? Just tell me.
We've said everything that needs to be said to each other.
Well, I happen to know you are because I have a friend at Random House, okay?
No, I'm free to do as I please.
Yeah, but this affects me.
I'm in a rush.
So you're going to tell everybody everything, right? Our life, our sexual life, all the details,
What do you do?
right?
Do you spy on me?
No, I don't have to spy. I was at a party and a guy said he read an advanced chapter of a book that my wife was writing. Leave out anything.
How's Billy?
He's terrific. He'll be fine.
Are you writing a book about our marriage?
You leave me alone.
Are you writing something about our breakup? Just tell me.
We've said everything that needs to be said to each other.
Well, I happen to know you are because I have a friend at Random House, okay?
No, I'm free to do as I please.
Yeah, but this affects me.
I'm in a rush.
So you're going to tell everybody everything, right? Our life, our sexual life, all the details,
What do you do?
right?
Do you spy on me?
No, I don't have to spy. I was at a party and a guy said he read an advanced chapter of a book that my wife was writing, and it was hot stuff. He said it was hot stuff. I spilled wine on my pants.
Well, I don't care to discuss it.
How's Willie?
Fine.
Well, give me some details. What do you mean fine? I mean, does he play baseball? Does he wear dresses? What?
He doesn't wear dresses. You'd find out all the details when it's your turn to see him.
Hey, don't write this book. It's a humiliating experience.
It's an honest account of our breakup.
Jesus, everybody that knows us is going to know everything.
Look at you. You're so threatened.
Hey, I'm not threatened because of the two of us, I was not the immoral, psychotic, promiscuous one. I hope I didn't leave out anything.
It's a scene from one of my all-time favorite Woody Allen films, Manhattan. And when you think of Manhattan, perhaps you would think of Woody Allen or Mariel Hemingway or Diane Keaton. But maybe you wouldn't remember that it was Meryl Streep who had a great role in that 1979 Woody Allen film. And with that, we'll open up tonight's movie program on Public Radio KCBX, broadcasting from San Luis Obispo, California. Across the aisle from me, always the dapper Bob Whiteford.
And across the aisle from me, a man I'm proud to call my friend. Of course, I'm talking about the unquestioned czar of film on the Central Coast, Jim Dee. And here we are, Jimmy, back again.
Back again, and seeing Meryl Streep singing in the current release, A Prairie Home Companion. It was a feeling of overdue. We're a bit overdue to do a tribute to this fantastic actress whose career is far from over, although we're going to be looking back at her career. What a career, Bob. I mean, just going back to this... just her filmography, Meryl Streep entering film in about 1977 in Julia, and really coming on strong. I mean, boy, she was in the company of greats right out of the gate.
I know, Jim. It's really amazing. I mean, Julia was an Academy Award-winning film with Vanessa Redgrave, Jane Fonda, Jason Robards, and there's Meryl Streep. And it seems like from the moment her career began, she's been in top-flight productions all the way. You know, like a lot of actors and actresses, you know, when they first start out, you find them in some low-budget horror movie or something. George Clooney, I think, was in, like, Return to Horror High or something, which I got a kick out of seeing, and I think he was in Return of the Killer Tomatoes. That's just an example, though. But not Meryl Streep.
No.
She seemed to come A-list all the way. After Julia, she was in the big-time ABC miniseries Holocaust with Michael Moriarty,
yes.
Which was huge. In the wake of Roots, this was like the next miniseries to come out on ABC, back when TV would do, you know, big-budget, miniseries, and it was a huge hit. And then, before you know it, she shows up in one of my all-time favorite movies, The Deer Hunter.
Yes, 1979, and boy, talk about a cavalcade of stars, and visibility, of course, from this essentially new star, but boy, she was in the host of the greats right from the get-go.
And what was really good about this film, and why the film stands up really well, because we know the director, Michael Cimino, ran off with a bunch of Oscars. In fact, Meryl Streep gets her first of, I don't know how many, 10?
13 Oscar nominations.
Okay, and I think it was 10 for support. No, yeah, 13.
Oh, well, Meryl Streep got 13
right
over the course of her career so far.
This is her first, and I think the film brought home 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. We know Michael Cimino's star kind of eclipsed very quickly, but this was also her first teaming with Robert De Niro, who they would do several films together over the years. Christopher Walken winning an Academy Award. John Savage, a great actor who hasn't done much lately. John Cazale, you might remember him as Fredo from The Godfather.
And also an item with Meryl Streep.
At that time, in fact, he was dying of cancer when the film was being made. And I believe she was instrumental in keeping him in the film. I think De Niro was too. It's like, if you pull him, we're going to walk as well. Great film, though. Stood up really well. Her performance is really important. She's like the one main woman character who's in love with 2 of the main male leads. Christopher Walken, who's her boyfriend, and she also is in love with Robert De Niro, who's Walken's best friend. And just how subtly she handles this, it's just it's acting that is really terrific, because it's not done in a very ham-fisted way. I mean, well, with this kind of cast, this kind of talent, what can you say? Deer Hunter, one of the great films, and this is like her 3rd film that she's done.
Yes. And Bob, what I was thinking, in one of the ideas for the show that I had, which was incorrect, was seeing Meryl Streep in Prairie Home Companion, for instance, and thinking, there was a time when Meryl Streep, would carry a picture, or you'd look for the new Meryl Streep. I'll use the word vehicle, even though that's really not the right word. I mean, the films that she chose to be in were something to look forward to. I was thinking that now her career is still in full swing, even though she's playing smaller roles, but no less active. I mean, just looking at her filmography, within 2006 and 2007, she's involved in no less than 8 movies that are yet to be released. One's animated, where she does voice, narrator on another one, but she is filming another 5 films, and so she is definitely active. She's got that sort of majesty about her. She's this great actress with a great career and history, and so I guess she can take on those smaller roles. But I was actually quite wrong in thinking that her career is kind of slowed down. I think she's still working a lot and doing great work.
Well, I think, Jim, I felt the same way. I know when we were talking about this earlier in the day, I kind of went home and I was scratching my head going, well, what is it that she's been doing lately? Where, of course, like Deer Hunter, Manhattan, even though it's a small cameo, Kramer versus Kramer, all films we'll be talking about, Sophie's Choice, etc., Out of Africa. I mean, it seemed like at one time, every movie she was in was probably one of the most critically acclaimed, Silkwood, talked about film of the year.
Yes.
So naturally, as we're no different from any other movie lovers. You tend to think, well, what is she doing now? And then, I guess she won an Emmy for Angels in America for a part she played in that.
Yes.
Which was a incredible HBO miniseries, almost going back to her Holocaust roots, working with her old friend and constant collaborator Mike Nichols, which we'll get into, which was something. She was in oh my goodness, what was it? Manchurian Candidate, The Hours she was in. I forgot that she was even in that. And it's funny. It's like you watch the movie, and she's such a great actress, you kind of almost don't notice her. You think she's somebody else.
You know, Bob, looking at some of these films just today, I have to say that even if the film wasn't very good, her performance was always good. I can't see her doing a bad performance, and even in some of the lighter, less weighty films that she has done, I mean, the fanciful stuff, she's right there, she's present. She seems to not have a bad performance in her bones. Just to give a little history, the name of our star tonight, Meryl Streep, her real name is Mary Louise Streep. She was born in 1949 in New Jersey.
Right around the corner from Jim Dee.
Yeah. She went to Yale, and her first performance was in 1977 in Julia. Let's move into, past the Deer Hunter, when she really comes to the forefront in 1979 in Kramer versus Kramer, working with Dustin Hoffman. Actually, prior to that, another TV film in 79, Uncommon Women and Others, and she also starred in a film called The Seduction of Joe Tynan. But Kramer versus Kramer, what a great piece. Her acting with Dustin Hoffman. And watching parts of this today, Bob, I was thinking that not only is this, watching these two great actors together, but this film shows what parenting is about. I really felt it really kind of, as a parent myself, I thought it really showed parenting. But just these two actors working together. Here's Meryl Streep in barely her fifth or sixth film, holding her own with Dustin Hoffman, and just a fantastic actress.
We should play the clip, Jim, because the clip that you have for it it's really good, because I hadn't seen this film in years, and most of the film it's Dustin Hoffman and the child.
Yes.
And she shows up late in the film, and apparently she had left Dustin Hoffman and the son
about 15 months earlier.
Just split.
Yes.
And we're seeing Hoffman, old Dusty, dealing with, the devastating effects of a marriage and family torn apart. So we don't really know who she is, except that she's the one that destroyed the family. Then she's reintroduced, and we see that it's a human being and not a monster.
Here within this scene from Kramer versus Kramer, you can hear Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep with an initial admiration, love for each other that maybe was there in their marriage. They were married for about 8 years. And then just in the arc of this scene, you can hear what their day-to-day life was probably like during their marriage. This is Meryl Streep, Dustin Hoffman from Kramer versus Kramer.
How's Billy?
He's terrific. He had a little accident a couple of weeks ago on a playground, and he cut himself. It was really scary. I ran him all the way to the hospital. He's going to have a little teeny scar, but he'll be fine. I've been worrying that it's my fault. And
Oh, don't do that. You can't even see it from a distance. Sometimes I sit in that coffee shop across the street from his school and watch him. He got so big.
You've been watching him from the coffee shop?
Well, I've been in New York for about 2 months now, so...
I didn't know that.
Anyway, that's why I wanted to talk to you today, because last time you saw me, I was in pretty bad, really
shaky?
bad shape. Yeah, I was.
Well, you look really lovely now. What?
I have a whole speech.
No, go ahead.
I don't know. All my life, I've felt like somebody's wife or somebody's mother or somebody's daughter. Even all the time we were together, I never knew who I was. And that's why I had to go away. And in California, I think I found myself. And I got myself a job. I got myself a therapist, a really good one. And I feel better about myself than I ever have in my whole life. And I've learned a great deal about myself.
Such as? No, I'm really, I'd really like to know What you learned.
Well, I've learned that I love my little boy. And that I'm capable of taking care of him.
What do you mean?
I want my son.
You can't have him.
Don't get defensive. Don't try to bully me.
I'm not
okay?
getting defensive. Who walked out of the house 15 months ago?
I don't care.
Joe.
I am still his mother.
Yes, from 3,000 miles away, and just because you sent a few postcards,
But I
it
never
gives you the
stopped
right to come
loving
back
him.
here?
I never stopped wanting him.
What
and
makes you
loving
so
him.
sure he wants you?
What makes you so sure he doesn't want me?
Okay, look, we're going to sit here and bat this back and forth like it was for 8 years. It's like old times.
Well, you can't deny me access
Don't tell
to my
me
own.
what I can or cannot do. Don't talk to me that way.
I have anticipated
Okay, look,
this
I don't
whole
want to
thing.
get into this. Look, you're
Okay.
going to have to do what you're going to have to do, and I'm
All
going to
right.
have to do what
I'm
I'm
very sorry about this.
Okay,
Because
just
I-
do what you have to do.
A scene from Kramer versus Kramer, and boy, they were glad to see each other when they first met in that scene, and very quickly it descends into the relationship they apparently had and those nuances that drove them apart.
It's just listening to that, Jim. I mean, it's just two great actors going head to head, and you're right. You could see why they were together for so long, why they had a child. There was a lot of love, and there was good things there. And then how quickly and decisively it falls apart. The repartee disintegrates when the son is brought up. And that is just powerful acting. That's a great film. I'll be honest, it was so painful to watch. It kind of reminded me of a film Albert Finney and Diane Keaton did called Shoot the Moon. And both films came out around the same time, and they were about the destruction of marriages, basically, and the effects it has on the kids and everything. And it was just so well done that you can't even, you just can't go back unless you're a masochist and go back and revisit this. But Kramer versus Kramer is a great film, and she is terrific. I think she was nominated once again for this.
I think she won the Oscar for this.
Oh, did she? Yes.
And Sophie's Choice. We're talking about Meryl Streep tonight on Take Two, the movie program. Right after Kramer versus Kramer, she worked with Jeremy Irons in The French Lieutenant's Woman, which we don't have a clip from, but that was a pretty fascinating film, the way they treated the book, made it in two different eras, and I like Jeremy Irons a whole lot. Again, here's Meryl Streep with a top actor. Let's see. We move ahead to 1982, and I would say that I actually think I saw Sophie's Choice before I saw Kramer versus Kramer, and this was my real introduction to Meryl Streep. Along with, I think this was the first time I saw Kevin Kline, and he was a wild man in this film. But Bob, when you mentioned the depth, the emotional depth that, for instance, Kramer versus Kramer goes to, and then we go to Sophie's Choice, which doesn't pull any punches as far as a mother who had one of the most horrible experiences during the Holocaust. And what was so powerful about this film, again, the writing is there, the actors are there, and they don't pull any punches. Sophie's Choice, I remember being I saw it a few times, and I was just so knocked out by it. But what great performances from Streep and Kevin Kline.
It's interesting, Jim, because what we're seeing here is a pattern. She's terrific, and all her male leads, and so far we've discussed Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman, Kevin Kline, just in this one, Woody Allen. These are really incredible actors in their own right. And
she's only just begun, by the way.
Yeah, this is just the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, Jim. This film is when I first noticed Kevin Kline. And they were terrific.
They were.
In tandem. And this is one thing I like about her. She seems to be able to, she doesn't dominate the screen so much as she has a really good tandem performance with the male lead. That seems to be the thread that exists throughout all her films when she was a lead, that she'd have to have an equally strong male lead. And this film, this is another one that was so good, so powerful, and so painful.
Yes.
You could only see it once. And I still remember the scene where she has to choose, make her choice, and that's during the Holocaust.
Yes.
And the devastating aftermath of that choice, because I believe the film takes place in Brooklyn years after World War II.
That's right.
Through the eyes mostly of a young fellow who lives in the apartment building with them, that's kind of taken by this really unusual couple. And this is a great film, and I guess she won her Best Actress award for this.
She did.
And if you haven't seen it, folks, I would highly recommend, and I know Jim would too, Sophie's Choice. Don't expect a feel-good film or a feel-good ending.
Good warning. Well, let's move ahead here. The very next year, Meryl Streep starred as Karen Silkwood in the film Silkwood. And, watching some of this today as well, Bob, I was thinking of her character as just a blue-collar worker at the nuclear power plant, and really emphasizing that she was not this anti-nuclear activist. She was just there with her crew and doing the job, and just sort of slowly noticed that there were some things going on that didn't sit right, just didn't seem to be right. And that's what I like about the film, and the fact that Karen Silkwood wasn't, so much in the picket lines or striking. She was just with everybody else, and all of a sudden started saying things that she didn't really like.
Yep. And that's, I think, was this the first film she did with Mike Nichols, Jim? Or, I don't know. It's hard to say.
I believe it is, but
well, we could
don't
be
go.
Wrong. Yeah. This was, again, a terrific... What's interesting about this film, Jim, is that there's three powerful performances here. There's Meryl Streep as Karen Silkwood. Kurt Russell acquits himself really well here as her fella, and their roommate, played by Cher, of all people, as her lesbian friend, who's... the three of them are kind of outcast types, and that's what makes the film really resonate well for people. You're right, Jim. They're not like these highbrow idealist fight. These are people who would work in a nuclear facility.
Yes.
They need a job. They drink a lot. And they live in a rural area. They don't have a lot of choices. Not unlike people that end up in the army, because it's this or prison. And that's what makes them endearing characters, and all the more human.
Here's a clip from Silkwood, and what I'd like to do is go from this clip, and we'll talk a little bit about our next clip, which was a film that Meryl Streep did called Plenty. But listen to her voice in Silkwood. We'll get into the quintessential thing about Meryl Streep and the fact that she can master any accent. But we'll listen to this clip from Silkwood where she's really concerned about one of her fellow workers, and then keep the voice in mind as we listen to the next clip. This is Meryl Streep in Silkwood.
Thelma, did they give you a nasal smear? No. Well, you make them give you a nasal smear. They're supposed to. Make Hurley give you one. And make him tell you the count. And make sure he's telling you the truth, because there's a lot of liars around here.
Nice going.
That's Kurt Russell, who was not real happy with Karen Silkwood being concerned about the fellow worker. Just do your job and kind of, mind your own business.
But dig the accent.
Yes. Now, we'll just say very quickly, after Silkwood, a film called Falling in Love. And in 1985, Meryl Streep starred in Fred Schapisi, I believe, is an Australian director, but this feels like a British production with a lot of great stars. Sir John Gielgud, Charles Dance. The name of the film is Plenty, with Meryl Streep as a Brit.
And this is kind of an interesting film, Jimmy. It did not do well at the box office, and this was when she was really riding pretty high.
Yes.
It's an interesting choice because it's really more about acting and acting with great actors as opposed to making a box office hit. And this film, I don't think a lot of people even know about it, or if they did, if they really got it or liked it all that much. Meryl Streep plays a woman who, during World War II, was a British secret agent. She was dropped behind the lines in France and was actively fighting with the partisans, fighting the war. What happened was, it was the most exciting time of her life, and she was living in the moment in such a way as that when the war was over and peace had come and the 50s had come, that she had a real difficult time accepting the mundane day-to-day after experiencing this. She could never quite get in sync with the current world. She was always living in the past, which would, of course, ruin the life of her husband, played by Charles Dance, who's a British diplomat, who she continuously humiliates and it's incredible acting. It's an interesting premise that's well done, but it's something that a lot of people are not going to grasp. And Sir John Gielgud is wonderful in this.
Sting is in this as well.
Sting and Sam Neill. And we got a little clip. Check out the accent.
This is Meryl Streep from Plenty.
You were one of the few women in special operations to be flown into France.
Yes.
And one of the youngest. At the time, what did you feel you were fighting for?
Well, I suppose we were fighting for freedom. But I'm not saying, please, it wasn't a grand idea. It was in us. It was bred in us. We were fighting for a world which could be better.
I suppose in spite of everything, you must miss those days.
Not really, no. We don't think about them much.
Liar.
Yeah, she is not telling the truth there. But again, there is Meryl Streep, who was Silkwood just a moment earlier with a completely different accent, extremely convincing, and holding her own, as we mentioned, of some of these great British stars, Charles Dance, John Gielgud, and the rest. That was from Plenty. Maybe before the 7 o'clock hour, we can squeak in one more great Meryl Streep accent in the very big film she was in I'll give you the date, in 1985, the same year as Plenty, Out of Africa, which was a big hit, and of course teaming her up this time with the great Robert Redford.
The great romantic hero. And this film was epic in scope, lush. Was it Sidney Pollock direct. I was going to say Lumet, but thanks for saving me, Jimmy. I get my Sydneys mixed up. Had a lush John Barry score. Mm-hmm. I mean, the film, it was beautiful to look at. Shot on location in Africa. I believe it's based on the writings or the diary of a real person, Karen Blixen.
Yes.
Who was Danish, who was living in British East Africa at the onset of the First World War, and her love affair with a, I don't know, what would you call him, like a rancher or a flaw. He was like kind of like a man of adventure. I don't know quite how to describe him. Was he a rancher who flew a plane or something? Yeah, something like that, played by Robert Redford.
He's the fictional counterpart of Robert Redford in Africa. Close, I guess. Out of Africa, I think, was a great film. Just watching some of it today also, I was reminded the lush film and, of course, the very slow romantic crescendo that we see between these two actors. And let's hear it. Listen to Meryl Streep's accent in this, a clip from Out of Africa. This is the second meeting of Robert Redford and Meryl Streep in the film.
I heard you had made it. I'd have paid anything to see their faces. Hello.
Hello.
Would you join us for a drink?
I can't. How is it that you are home?
I brought Barkley back.
Has he been
No,
wounded?
fever. More than usual, but he'll be all right as long as the gin holds out.
And you? How is it with the fighting?
We're taking a beating. It's likely to last for a while.
I still have your compass.
Why don't you keep it? You've earned it. Besides, I don't always want to know where I'm going anyway.
Well,
Are you-
please don't let me keep you.
Are you all right?
Yes. Take good care, Dennis.
We're behind a story or two.
Yes, when I get back.
Back from where?
When you get back, I mean.
That is Meryl Streep and Robert Redford in Out of Africa. That little awkwardness I want to translate as a little sexual tension between the two early in the film. But again, revisiting this film, it's quite an experience. It is a long film. It's about 2 hours, 45 minutes. Yeah. But great to see these great stars, Robert Redford and Meryl Streep in Out of Africa. We're talking about the career of Meryl Streep, which we could say maybe is at a midway point. A lot of great career to come for this wonderful actress, but we have lots more to talk about on Take Two, the movie program on Public Radio, KCBX San Luis Obispo, KSBX Santa Barbara, streaming worldwide at kcbx.org. Bob and I will be back with more of Meryl Streep in just a moment.
I wanna go to the movie show, me and my baby. Come on, let's go. On to the movie show. Let's go. I buy the popcorn as soon as we hit the door. My two brothers, Bill and Pons, sitting in the front row. They bought the candy. We don't need nothing more. I love a movie show, I tell you.
Funds for Take Two, the movie program, have been provided in part by Morin Brothers Automotive, which is newly expanded to better serve their customers. Frida, the diagnostic dog, invites you to check out her new digs at Morin Brothers, servicing Volvo, Saab, and most domestic and Japanese cars.
Funds have also been provided for this program in part by the 22nd Annual Central Coast Wine Classic, presenting the Rhone Blends of San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties on July 16th. Details at centralcoastwineclassic.org.
I wanna go to the movie show, me and my baby. Come on, let's go. Morgan Freeman and Edward G. Man.
We're back on Take Two, the movie program. We're really glad that you are there. Across the aisle from me is Bob Whiteford. My name is Jim Dee, and we are celebrating the career of Meryl Streep. Again, not that it's in any way, shape, or form slowing down, but looking back at some of her great films from her early career and getting into an area now, Bob, where, you know, we've been discussing a lot of these films that are deadly serious. And deadly, I don't mean, maybe that's a little too strong. You know, when we talk about Sophie's Choice or Kramer versus Kramer, we're talking about, you know, real emotional depth, really great acting. It seems like after Out of Africa, we need to go with a couple more here. But there seemed to be a few films where we could see the lighter side of Meryl Streep. She starred in a few comedies, a completely different role, say, in Albert Brooks's Defending Your Life. We have a clip coming up from Heartburn with Jack Nicholson, to where these are kind of, you know, there's a little more going on than just a light comedy, but still a whole different side of Meryl Streep, I think, was revealed in, say, our next film that we're going to talk about, Heartburn, with Jack Nicholson.
This is kind of an interesting film. It didn't do particularly well at the box office or with critics. I guess it was based on the writings of Nora Ephron about her marriage to Carl Bernstein.
Yes.
The Washington Post reporter, All the President's Men. You might remember that. And this was kind of an interesting turn for Meryl Streep, and once again teaming with a very strong male lead. And of course we're talking about Jack Nicholson.
Jack. At
the height of his Jackness. And this is a film that, looking back on it now, I can't see what the problem was, what bugged everybody, because it's actually quite good.
I was thinking it was more of a, maybe people had an idea that it was intended to be a marriage falling apart. He's a rascal, he's a scoundrel, he's having an affair shortly after they get married and they're having a baby. But in watching parts of this today, Bob, it plays like a comedy. It's much more, let's get rid of the seriousness here. There are some serious things that happen in this film, but it's watching these two play against each other, and it's fun. They look like they're having fun, and I was cracking up. I mean, the clip that we have, I think our listeners will get a big kick out of.
And, here we go back to that chemistry issue. It's, she's always got to have a strong male lead, like in Out of Africa. I mean, there was great chemistry between her and Robert Redford, and in this film is no different. Jack Nicholson, who's known to dominate the screen, and here she is, more than holding her own in Heartburn.
Let's listen to this clip here, just to set this up. Recently married, Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson live in a home that is far from being livable, and they have a contractor from hell. They've just come in, they're miserable in their house, they're wondering why the work hasn't been done. Jack is checking the phone book to find the contractor's address. This is Meryl Streep, Jack Nicholson in Heartburn.
Go over to his house, have a look at him. If he looks okay, I'll kill him. He has an unlisted address.
What are you talking about?
Oh, well, it's the latest thing.
What kind of person has an unlisted address?
I'll tell you what kind of person. The kind that doesn't want to be dead. The kind that people are trying to kill all the time.
Why are you angry at me for?
I'm not angry at you.
Well, then what are you shouting at me for?
Because you're the only one that's here.
I hate it when you get angry.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry.
I'm not angry at you. I love you. I'm not angry at you.
We can't have a baby in this. It'll have asthma before it's a month old.
Well, we'll just have to wait till we finish the house to have a baby. If this is your way of telling me that we've got less than 9 months to finish this renovation, it's a really weird way of doing it.
Well, we're having a baby, I think. I think we're having a baby.
We're having a baby.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby.
That's from the motion picture Heartburn, and you know, Jack and Meryl have a good time in this film. I was cracking up watching it today. I'd sort of forgotten about it until you brought it up today, Bob, and it was great reviewing it. And again, they look like they're having fun. There's some sordid things that happen in this film, but still, I thought it was really fun to watch.
Definitely a film that might be worth going back and giving it another look.
Yes. And you know, what I was getting to, what was stopping me from talking about Meryl Streep getting a little bit lighter and getting in some lighter films, I saw the next film we're going to talk about, which is another team-up of Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson, and this is not a humorous film. It's Ironweed. The year was 1987, and this is both Jack and Meryl probably at their worst looking. Not their worst acting, but they went to great lengths to look as down and out, as strapped as you could be in a movie. They really, didn't mind the warts showing in this film, and I really felt it was a powerful film. And the clip that we have, what inspired the show was watching Meryl Streep sing in Prairie Home Companion, and she is a fabulous singer, and the song that she sings in Ironweed is amazing.
Absolutely. And again, she's got the dialect, the 30s dialect down, the upstate New York dialect. This film, based on the book by William Kennedy, part of his Albany trilogy, all took place during the Depression. If you've ever read the book, it'd be hard to forget. It's a great book. This is a solid adaptation, and Nicholson is terrific in this. What am I saying? Jack. I won't call Nicholson. Come on. Jack Nicholson and Meryl Streep are terrific in this. Both of them were nominated for Academy Awards, rightfully so. I might add, too, Tom Waits has a great part in this as well.
Yes, he does.
And I guess playing a kind of a down-and-out guy who living in the streets comes pretty natural for Tom Waits, but I thought he was really good in this as well. And it's filmed on location in Albany, and I think it's directed by Hector Babenco. This is the film he did after Kiss of the Spider Woman.
That's right, Bob. What a memory. Great.
And this was a filmmaker that at that time people were, predicting a lot of great things for. Not to say that I just don't know what ever happened with him.
He's still been making films, but again, he doesn't have the attention that he got from these two, and especially
films.
After Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Yeah, that was a great film. And so is this.
We're talking about Ironweed with Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson, and boy, do they get down and out in this. Here's a scene where Jack and Tom Waits and Meryl Streep have been hanging out in the bar, and the bartender is played by none other than the great Fred Gwynne, who was a great actor, by the way.
We love him.
Meryl Streep is asked to sing a song, and she sings a song to her pal, who is Jack Nicholson. And listen to her voice and listen to her presentation here. This is Meryl Streep from Ironweed.
A real old-time trooper will now sing us a song. Lovely Miss
Helen Archer.
Helen Archer.
Yeah. I would like to sing this for my man, Francis. I know a lad, and when I feel bad, he scares all my troubles away. When he's your friend, he's yours till the end, no matter what others may say. He don't tell me how I ought to be. He likes me just as I am. And when I feel blue, he's the one I go to, 'cause his heart is as big as a ham. He's me pal, he's me pal. There ain't nobody else I can see. I know he's dead tough, but his love is no bluff. He'd share his last dollar with me. I'd rather have him and his 15 a week than be some old millionaire's gal. He's the best ever was, and I loves him because he's me pal, he's me pal.
And that applause that Meryl Streep is getting there for her performance is imagined as being a big group of well-to-do people. Of course, she's in a very seedy bar, and I think what needs to be said also as she's singing this song, she looks like hell. I mean, but amazing performances from both Jack Nicholson and Meryl Streep in Ironweed.
I mean, it's just great how she nails the accent, Jim, and then turns around and belts out a song in that accent. I mean,
and in the style of the 30s even.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah, amazing.
Incredible.
Okay, we're going to go from the rather dark Ironweed to one of, if not, well, one of my all-time favorite Albert Brooks films, Defending Your Life. And here again, Meryl Streep, she made Defending Your Life in 1991 and 1992, turned around and made Death Becomes Her. Again, her first delving into something more special effects driven, which is something she rarely did. But Defending Your Life, what is so great about the Meryl Streep role in this film, if you haven't seen the film, Defending Your Life has to do with that midpoint after you've died, where you're going to be judged a little bit on your life, and you can either move on or you can go back to Earth and start over again. And Albert Brooks meets Meryl Streep in Judgment City, where they both are after they've died. And Meryl Streep is the ultimate woman you would want to meet. She's bubbly, she's vivacious, she's fun to be with, and I would say that Albert Brooks meets her in a comedy club in Judgment City, and the scene we're going to be listening to. But she's just, I think Albert Brooks essentially falls in love with her the first time he sees her, because she is just the nicest person you'd want to meet in Judgment City or elsewhere.
I hadn't seen this film in years, Jimmy. I mean, I think this came out like
91.
That's 15 years ago now. It's hard to believe that much time has passed. But this was a terrific film, and Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep are really great in this. I think Rip Torn is the cat who's running Judgment City.
Yes.
A perfect pick. Oh, boy. Well, you know what? Let's play the clip. This is priceless. This is a great clip.
This is Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep. They meet for the first time in the comedy nightclub in Judgment City. They both have died already from Defending Your Life.
Hi, what's your name? Arthur. Hi, Arthur. And where were you from? Denver. Lovely city, Denver, Arthur. Did you ski? No. No. How'd you die? I was in a coma. I'm sorry. How long were you in the coma? I really don't know. Let's play a game, Art. Elvis, living or dead? Living. Long coma, Art. Long coma. Have a nice day. Hi, how are you? What's your name? Ernie. Hi, Ernie. You having a good time here in Judgment City? Oh, it's fun. Food's good. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Have you been to the stables, a little exercise? You like to horseback ride? Not very much. Good. Oh, there's a nice-looking young man over there. Hi, how'd you die? On stage, like you. Pretty funny. Maybe you should come up here, huh?
No, thank you.
No, of course he doesn't want to come up here. You know why? Because this is very hard work. But I love to do it, and I love you little brains. Matter of fact, have you heard any little brain jokes lately? Well, they're all around.
Hi.
I know you, right?
I hope so. Who are you?
I'm Julia.
Oh, hi. I'm Daniel.
Hi.
You know me?
You like these?
Well, I thought I did.
You weren't in the bus, were you?
What bus?
I hit a bus.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Oh, good. Sit down.
I'm sorry. You really look so familiar to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm the only man in here under 100.
Yeah. Could be it.
Well, from that innocent meeting in Defending Your Life, Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep hit it off as they are defending their lives, so to speak. Great scene where they go to the Past Lives Pavilion. It turns out that Albert Brooks was, dinner for a tiger or something in Africa, whereas Meryl Streep was Joan of Arc. So there you go. A great film, very funny if you haven't seen it, and a great performance by Meryl Streep. I'm not sure why I would call that a departure for her to be in an Albert Brooks movie, but say compared to a Sophie's Choice, it's a little bit lighter fare. And, of course, if we take Jack Lemmon's word for it, comedy and light stuff is harder to play than drama.
Absolutely, Jimmy.
But she's great in this, too, so highly recommend Defending Your Life. Moving on through Meryl's career, Death Becomes Her was also, 1992. She also was with Jeremy Irons, I believe, in House of the Spirits. The River Wild came. And then, with Clint, I would say that in 1995, they say that her career really, got a jolt from The Bridges of Madison County.
Huge hit. Huge.
Based on the huge selling book. And let's move on a little bit more. Our time is getting a little bit shy, but I want to say that in 1996, I thought Meryl Streep's performance in Marvin's Room was really great. Again, we think of her as that sophisticated woman in Plenty, or in Out of Africa, and here she is the pot-smoking, cigarette-smoking, not a very good mom, and surrounded by an amazing cast in Marvin's Room. Again, what I liked a lot about this film, we got back to the acting, we got back to the good writing, and Meryl Streep with Diane Keaton, Leonardo DiCaprio puts in a great performance here. And again, the interactions of these great actors really works. It's one of the most interesting performances by Robert De Niro, by the way. He's the family doctor. You'd never think that a good fella exists inside the character that Robert De Niro plays in Marvin's Room, but he's the doctor who diagnoses Diane Keaton, and he's just the kind of the fumbly but very good and very concerned doctor. It was a really interesting performance from Robert De Niro.
And it was good to see them re-teamed again.
Yes.
They've done several, from The Deer Hunter. There are a few other films there as well. It was good to see them together. In fact, let's play the clip, Jimmy.
Here's you can tell the relationship of mother and son with this clip from Marvin's Room. This is Meryl Streep and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Hey.
Look at you. You look like a pig.
No, I'm working on an engine.
So they don't let you shower?
Look, they told me you're here, so I came, all right?
You behaving yourself?
Well, not strapping me down anymore.
Well, don't abuse that privilege.
So how come you're visiting me?
What do you mean? I don't need a reason to visit.
How come you never visited before?
I did visit you. You were unconscious.
It doesn't count as a visit. How
Look,
can that be a
take
visit if I didn't even know
responsibility for when
you were
you're conscious
here,
or
Mom?
unconscious. All I can do is make the effort.
Your mother has something to tell you.
It's not good news. But doctor says it's okay to tell you because partially I have no choice.
What?
Your Aunt Bessie down in Florida has leukemia. She's not doing so well. It's a possibility she might die.
I didn't know I had an Aunt Bessie.
She's been to the house.
When?
Right after your dad and I got married.
Mom, I wasn't born yet.
Look, I know I mentioned her to you. She's my sister.
Well, I didn't know you had a sister.
You know how every goddamn Christmas I say to you, looks like Bessie didn't send a card again this year either.
Oh, yeah.
That's your Aunt Bessie, my sister. And because we're her nearest relatives, they want to get us tested because maybe they could save her life and do a bone marrow transplant or It's only for a week. Doctor says it's okay to go.
Well, why would I want to go?
Because one of us might save her life. Go, go, go. Get cleaned up. I'm not going to take you like that in the car.
Hank, isn't there something you want to say to your mother before you leave?
Yeah, but is this going to take long? Because we should go.
Mom. I'm really sorry I burned the house down.
Is that it? Because I'm really anxious now to get on the road.
What a mom. I think it took a lot for Leonardo DiCaprio to apologize to his mom because he did burn the house down. But Meryl just wants to get going. So
that's a great scene.
Great performances all the way around in Marvin's Room. Want to get in a couple more. I think Meryl does definitely look for interesting projects. And in fact, just one note, in 1999, she did star in a film, Music of the Heart, which was based on the life of a real person. And she actually learned how to play the violin to be in this. According to her biography, she was practicing like 6 to 8 hours a day so that when she was playing violin in the film, she was authentic. And, you know, one thing that maybe we failed to mention is in the biography, it notes that Meryl Streep does a lot of prep for all of her roles. She does tons of research, and she comes to the set extremely well prepared. But her penchant for things that are interesting, in 2002, she starred in the film Adaptation, which was a lot of fun. I thought it was a real interesting film. And in it, she is the writer that the Nicolas Cage character's book is reading, and it's put together very interestingly. And here's a clip from Adaptation. In this clip, Meryl Streep is talking to Tilda Swinton and talking about a short piece that landed in The New Yorker.
It's beautifully written. You have such a unique voice.
Thank you very much.
We're big fans.
Oh, thank you.
La Roche is such a fun character.
Yeah.
It's funny and fresh and sad in a way. So we were wondering what's next.
Well, Random House has asked me to expand it into a book, so I'm going to be doing that.
Susan, we would really like to option this.
You want to make it into a movie?
Into a movie.
Oh, God. That's really...
How does that sound?
That's very exciting.
Good.
It's just comical. I mean, I hadn't thought of it. I've never written a screenplay before, so...
Oh, don't worry about that. We have screenwriters to write the screenplay.
Ooh, you know, you got the book, you got the writing, but you're going to let somebody else write the screenplay.
Charlie Kaufman. That is, I don't know, best, worst. I still can't make up my mind on this film.
It depends on the film. Anyway, that was Adaptation, Meryl Streep. And just noting a couple other roles, she did star in the remake of The Manchurian Candidate, the Jonathan Demme remake. And again, I think she was surrounded by a very interesting script and a great bunch of stars. And in the summer of 2006, she is going to be in the film The Devil Wears Prada. Meryl's working hard, and really it was fun going over her career, far from over, and looking forward to maybe when she does have a lead role as opposed to a secondary role, because she's got the chops.
That she does, Jimmy.
Want to thank everybody for listening. Want to thank our projectionist extraordinaire, Hank, and thanks all the listeners of Take Two.
And just a moment before we go, I just want to thank everybody for supporting this show and all your kind words I've had the good fortune of hearing over the last few weeks. It's an honor to come here every Monday and be here for you. So have a great week, folks, and we'll catch you next Monday.